Welcome back to my channel Statistics Made Simple, and I am Savita Valsang. In this video, I'll explain 5 more definitions under the probability theory chapter and also introduce you to the different types of probability, and will explain the first type of probability, which is called as the classical, mathematical or priori probability. The 15th definition, equally likely events or equiprobable events. Two or more events are said to be equally likely if, taking into consideration all relevant evidence, there is no reason to believe one has a greater chance of occurrence than other. So in simple words, that is, all events have the same chance of occurrence. So if all the events have the same chance of occurrence, then they are said to be equally likely or equiprobable. First example, while tossing a fair coin, there are two equally likely outcomes, which is the head and tail. Similarly, if you take the rolling of a die example, all the 6 faces are equally likely. In other words, all the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, when we roll a die, they have an equal chance of occurrence. 16th definition, elementary event or simple event. An event consisting of only one outcome is called as an elementary event. First example, suppose a die is rolled once. Then we know that the sample space is S equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and let A be an event of getting the number 6. That is, A is equal to 6. Here, A is a simple event. Why is it a simple event? Because there is only one outcome in it. Second example, let S be equal to HH, HT, TH and TT in tossing of two coins. Let A be an event of getting two heads. That is, A is equal to HH. Here A is a simple event. 17th definition, compound event. An event which contains two or more outcomes is a compound event. First example, suppose two coins are tossed, let A be equal to HH, HT, TH, which is the event of getting at least one head. Here, event A has three outcomes, hence it is a compound event. Second example, suppose a die is rolled once. Let A be equal to 2, 4, 6 be the event of getting a multiple of 2. Here, A has 3 outcomes and hence it is a compound event. 18th definition, sure or certain event. An event which contains all the outcomes is equal to the sample space and it is called a sure event. Note that the sample space itself is an event and it is called as a certain or sure event. First example, in rolling of a die experiment, S equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is a sure event. Similarly, when a coin is tossed once, S equal to H, T is a sure event. The 19th definition and the last definition under the probability theory chapter is the impossible or the null event. An event which will never occur when a random experiment is performed is called as an impossible event and it is denoted by phi. First example, a coin is tossed twice. We know that when a coin is tossed twice, there will be 4 possible outcomes, which are HH, HT, TH and TT. And let E be equal to HHH, which is the event of getting 3 heads. Then E is an impossible event. Why is E an impossible event? Because we can't get 3 heads when a coin is tossed twice. Second example, a die is rolled once. and E equal to 7 be the event of getting the number 7. Then E is an impossible event because on a die we have only the numbers from 1 to 6 and we cannot get a number which is greater than 6. Now we come to the most important part of the probability theory chapter, where I'll introduce you to the different definitions of probability. There are 4 systematic approaches to the study of probability. The first one is the classical, mathematical or priori probability. Second is conditional probability. Third is the empirical definition is given by von Moses, and it's also called as the statistical or posteriori approach of probability. And the fourth one is the axiomatic approach. So I'll start with the first definition of probability, which is the classical, mathematical or priori probability. Now this definition is important and it makes use of the various definitions which I have explained in my previous videos. Let a random experiment have n equally likely, mutually exclusive and exhaustive outcomes. Let m of these outcomes be favorable to an event A. So please observe the notations very carefully. So small n stands for the total number of outcomes, and these outcomes are mutually exclusive, they are equally likely and they are also exhaustive. And small m, it denotes the number of outcomes which are favorable to an event A. So continuing, the probability of event A is denoted by P of A, which I have highlighted in pink color, and it is given by P of A is equal to number of favorable outcomes divided by the total number of outcomes. So the final formula for the classical probability is P of A is equal to m divided by n. So what is small m? It stands for the number of outcomes which are favorable to an event A, and small n stands for the total number of outcomes. I'll discuss some more points under the heading note. The first one, out of n outcomes, n minus m outcomes will be favorable to the complementary event A dash. So how do we find out probability of the complementary event A dash? Its formula will be P of A dash is equal to number of favorable outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. That is, P of A dash will be equal to n minus m. So what is n minus m? It will be the number of outcomes which are favorable to the complementary event A dash divided by the total number of outcomes, which is n. Then in the next step, I have P of A dash is equal to every term in the numerator is divided by the term in the denominator, and we get n divided by n minus m divided by n. So the final expression for P of A dash is equal to 1 minus P of A. So this is an important formula to remember. Second note, P of A and P of A dash are non-negative and cannot exceed unity. Again, this is a very important point to remember and can be asked as a 1 marker. Now what do we understand by P of A and P of A dash are non-negative and cannot exceed unity? It means that the probability of an event or the probability of a complementary event cannot be more than 1. Also, it is non-negative. That means it always has to be positive. So we can write this statement in the form of an expression as 0 is less than or equal to P of A is less than or equal to 1, and 0 is less than or equal to P of A dash, which is less than or equal to 1. So in other words, it means that P of A always lies between 0 and 1. Similarly, P of A dash also lies between 0 and 1. So keep in mind that the probability value should always lie between only 0 and 1. The third point, if P of A is equal to 1, what does it mean? It means that event A is a certain event or a sure event. Fourth point, if P of A is equal to 0, it means that event A is an impossible event or a null event. Now, lastly, I will discuss the limitations of classical approach. We know that the classical definition of probability is based on two assumptions. The first assumption is the total number of outcomes are finite, and secondly, various outcomes of a trial should be equally likely, mutually exclusive, and exhaustive. So if any of the two assumptions does not hold good, then the classical definition fails. So the classical definition of probability is applicable only when the outcomes are equally likely, mutually exclusive, and if the total number of exhaustive outcomes are not known or infinite, we cannot use this approach. The probability formula which we have learned under the classical approach, that is P of A is equal to M by N, is a very important formula, and you will see that it is made use of very extensively in the random variables chapter and also under theoretical distributions. Thank you all for watching, and look out for my next video where we'll solve several problems based on the classical approach.